Good morning. Good afternoon. I said that the atheistic existentialist won't end their conversation with absurdity. It won't end negatively, and today is where it ends, and it ends on a positive note. They think that you have to accept absurdity. This will be the first of three steps. You have to recognize the fact that life is absurd, because if you don't, that means you're going to spend your time avoiding life, avoiding the reality of it. And when you live a life of avoidance, you are going with the flow and you're allowing other people and other things to determine your life rather than yourself. So let me say that one more time. If you live that life of distraction we talked about last Wednesday, you're going to allow other people and other things to determine your life. And that's not the way to live. So recognize that life is absurd. Stop trying to avoid it. And then, step two, Jean-Paul Sartre has a phrase called existence precedes essence. And what he means by this is that without God, like with Kierkegaard, who believed we had an essential self, a true self that we're supposed to be and become, Jean-Paul Sartre believes that there is obviously no preset purpose for our lives in the way that it would be with Kierkegaard and a religious belief. So you exist first, and then you create who you are. So existence precedes, comes before essence. And this is one of the things that he thinks that atheism has a lot to offer, because he thinks that this perspective really allows us to see that we are the authors of our lives. You have to see yourself like a blank canvas. See yourself as the author of your life. That is, existence precedes essence, which then leads to three, condemned to be free, which is his other big phrase. And what he means by this is that we are thrown into the world, whether we like it or not, and we have this radical freedom to create ourselves. We have it, and we're responsible to do something with it, which means a couple of things. You can't blame other people for your life. You have to take charge and take responsibility for your life. Secondly, you have to live as intentionally as possible. So when you're thinking about your lifestyle, how do you spend your time? Do you spend it well, or do you waste it? The people that you're friends with, are they turning you into the person that you want to become or not? So intentionality means that we have to be very critical in terms of thinking through every decision, all of our decisions. It's not like it is for Kierkegaard, just these big existential dilemmas, but it's even the small decisions and the habits in our lives that matter, because everything plays a part in creating us. A couple of years ago, actually not a couple of years ago, my gosh, it was like 15 years ago, I caught this for the first time and decided to stop watching television for a week or two to see what would happen. And as a result of that, I started to play classical guitar. And then as a result of that, I learned about five or six other instruments. I learned how to edit video and make little home videos for myself and for my kids. I wrote two books. One I tried to get published, did not get published, but I tried. But the accomplishment of taking about a year to write a book and having done that twice was huge. So here's a situation where I wasn't living a bad life, but I wasn't living it consciously. And the word that Sartre likes to use for this is authentically. Are you living your life authentically and as authentically as you possibly can? Are you living it to your fullest? So I was living a decent life. I just wasn't living it to its fullest. And I stopped and I paused and I sort of took perspective on my life and re engaged with it in a way that for the next decade provided me with a creative uh, outlet and creative outlets, I should say, that really deeply enriched my life and including the lives of my kids. So Sartre doesn't want you to end feeling depressed. He wants you to end feeling excited about life and excited about the fact that you get to create it. And I think, one of the things that coronavirus does, it sort of puts the whole world on pause. You need to recognize that when the pause button goes off, it goes back to, so consider it, a recorder. It goes back to record mode. You're the person who's speaking into the camera and speaking into the microphone. You have to be completely conscious of how you are living your life. And are you living it in a way that is turning you into the person that you want to be? Are you living it in a way that is pushing you toward a life that has meaning, even if that meaning is ultimately, fake in terms of the universe? I still think life is meaningless, but they think that you can create a temporary meaning in your life if you're conscious and intentional about it. That's the positive and uplifting news of atheistic existentialism. Go ahead and jump over to the Google form with just a couple questions. Part of it's a check-in. I'm just curious to see how people are doing. And then one sort of big question for you to respond to in terms of authenticity in your own life. Have a good Tuesday.